Okay, testing 1, 2, 3. It says I'm live. I forgot to do this. Bear with me. Oh, yeah, I got some good stuff for you. I'm just me being me, doing me. And actually, though I seem ditzy and fun, I'm actually really serious and sometimes quite boring. Okay, so welcome to Astrology and Beyond, Jules Singer's amazing website of insight. Ooh, I like that. Anyway, yeah, Mercury today. But first thing, let me remind you to like it and subscribe it and all that good stuff because evidently I have to tell you. All right. And coming up on Sunday, I'm doing live stuff Sunday, but I will announce it. This is spontaneous today because it's easier. I'm just doing easy. Okay. So here we go. Sunday noon, I'm going to do my live broadcast, which I'm going to send out on my email list. So everybody will have, they can reserve the time. Hello. Okay. It's going to be called, ta-ta, the title, The Big Tent. Democrats and the liberal mind, according to astrology and mythology and all the ethologies that I'm interested in, which also include spiritology and religionology and all that good stuff. Okay, so Democrats and the liberal mind with an eye on the number 12 energies. And what are those number 12 energies? Well, they are Neptune, the modern ruler of Pisces, and Pisces itself. And of course, the 12th house, which is the house of the number 12, that's a place of mystery and redemption, if you're lucky or smart, or a combination of the two. And then let's see. And Jupiter in drag. Jupiter in Pisces, because Jupiter is a yang sign, is a yang guy, is a god. He's a dude, and he's the vagabond king. Okay, and then when he dresses up in drag and goes yin on us, then he rules Pisces, the sign of the goddess who is currently in Modernia, the Neptunian creature, although named Neptune by a masculine god by the Romans. We're going to talk about that and discuss all the permutations of yin and yang and male and female and masculine and feminine in terms of yin and yang and blah, blah, blah. Lots of words, lots of words. All right. But now I want to do Mercury retrograde. And it's a big deal for me. I'm a Gemini rising, which means Mercury's the boss of me. Mercury is the boss of me. Mercury is this yellow sign here, this yellow circle. And that is the god of messengering. He's the one who delivers the message. Deliver the later, the sooner the better. So it's not about getting anything right or wrong. It's only about bringing the story to you. Now, originally, that's what journalists did. Nowadays, journalists want to give you a message that of their opinion. And that sort of belies the energy of Mercury, because Mercury is an amoral god. He doesn't care what the message says or where it came from. He's just bringing it where he was told to bring it. Now, I heard one astrologer say, oh, Mercury does as he pleases. But you see, it goes where he pleases, because he's motion and movement and he's the wind. All right. But I got to thinking about that and I thought, no. He doesn't go where he pleases, because what does wind and air do? It moves according to the pressure around it. Pressure, air pressure. If there's low pressure, he goes there. If there's no pressure, he goes there. If it's hot, he swirls around. If it's cold, he settles down. So the elemental pressures, yeah. Oh, I like that. The elemental pressures that are in our space then dictate where the air goes. That's why he's the messenger. He delivers the message to the place that the elements are pushing him to or pulling him to. But he's a he because he's mental. Air is he because it's mental. All the he things, all the yang things are the things that you can't touch or feel. The things that you can taste, touch, feel. What are the other ones? Smell. Taste, touch, smell, see, and feel, filio, are feminine. Because the physical world is the feminine aspect of God, according to my teacher, Robert Hand, genius man. Okay. And so here we are trying to figure ourselves out. Well, these simple permutations are helpful to me anyway, because being neurodivergent, which means that my brain is on TikTok all the time, before TikTok was ever invented. And then also, I have this other thing of not paying attention to you if you don't interest me. So I can completely depart from a conversation if I'm not interested in it. And it's not about you. And I apologize to all the people that I've ever just blanked out on, because I was really busy traveling in the cosmos, as I like to say. All right. So that's how I see neurodivergent. It's not that there's anything wrong with anybody. You're not broken. You don't need to be fixed. And all this healing is bullshit. What we need to do is notice who we are and what we're doing. That's it. All right. I know I'm kind of I'm getting too old to mess around with all this touchy feely stuff, because honestly, I've worked really hard to get where I'm at. All right. So, that one I'm done with. Oh, isn't this great? I love sharing. Love sharing. All right. So here we go. Am I touching something that's making my cursor go? Oh yeah, I touched my mouse. Okay. I'm about as professional as a toddler here. All right. But the brain is a pro. The details are a toddler. That's how this works. Okay. So Mercury Retrograde, and we all know about it. You can watch all the astrologers, and they're all so good. I just love them. I watch a lot of them. I watch the World Report. Oh, what's that guy? He's so good. And Cam White, that young man, he's brilliant. And then the guy with the two letters, he's fat. I think he lives in Europe. Anyway, so many good astrologers online. So you can watch them all. But my take is a little bit different, because I use astrology as my tool that guides me in a spiritual world. Okay, so and they do too, but they use the words with more articulation than I do, because being a space cadet professional, I like to massage it with poetry and alliteration. Okay, because honestly, the details escape me. All right, so here we're having Mercury retrograde most of August, all of August, and then into September. And so what's going on with that? And they always say, well, it's not, and I'm saying it's not what you think. Mercury retrograde, and what do they tell us about it? They say, let's see, they tell us it's what you used to think, or you're going backwards, or your stuff doesn't work, or your car won't start, or your computers don't work. And all of that may be true. And it does that. But I think what's happening here is we're missing a bit of nuance. And the nuance is that Mercury retrograde requires you to return and rethink, because it's Mercury, we're thinking about whatever area it's in your chart, makes you rethink that stuff. So in other words, let's see if I have more words for you. It's a time to rewind your mind. Yeah. So it's not like there's anything wrong nor broken, but if stuff feels wrong and broken, then you have to go back and go, okay, this isn't working. Let me find out why this doesn't work now. Because there's something that happened before. And if I can rewind back to that, then I can maybe understand why it's not working now. Maybe I need to move into a different lane for something else, or a different way to approach this not working thing. Because what it does is it makes us reevaluate our path. It's like the air it's got pressure. Is the pressure cold or hot? Is it pushing us away by being a low pressure center? Now I'm doing weather. All right. But the point is, do you get me? Do you get me? All right. So the point is reframing. Oh, hello. Reframing our experience. And if you go back and you realize, oh, well, maybe when I wrote that story, I was in a different state of mind than I am now. I have like a little more experience with that particular topic now, and I need to revise the way I'm thinking about it. I want to revise my thoughts, and that will help me understand maybe a new set of goals or something. All right, what else did I write? Think, okay, so think once upon a time. In other words, this computer keeps breaking when I push the F key. So what is it about F keys? I go back and find out. I know that's just it's not real. That's just yeah. Anyway, okay, apply the rewind that fits the story. So in other words, we're what we're doing is we're restoring, because that's what Mercury does. Mercury thinks about and talks about its story. And the story is like, oh, I got pushed down with that air pocket, or I got pulled up into the cosmos because it was really hot up there and the vortex sucked me. I mean, this is weather. We've always said it since I learned astrology 40 years ago. It's weather, it's cosmic weather, it's spiritual weather. And it's really helpful if you understand that this astrology just tells you the weather story around your life and your soul and your spirit and what you're going through. And so that can be a lot of fun. It is for me. It's just, I like it. It's just interesting. And because also it doesn't pass judgment. It just says, oh, yeah, well, it is what it is, and we're going to deal with it. Rather than, oh, poor me, it's just like, oh, everything's on, everybody hates. No, it's not everybody hates you, and it's not you're bad. And maybe you are bad and you did really bad things, but that's not why this is working the way it is. It's working the way it is because that's the weather report. Now, how you're going to accept it, if it's raining, are you going to go out and get soaking wet? Or are you going to use an umbrella? It's simple, people. It's very simple, but it's not simple if you're all emotionally invested in outcomes and desires. And that's why the Buddhists say, oh, if you don't have any desire, then you'll be happy. Well, I personally don't think that's exactly fun. I think it's more fun to desire whatever it is. I mean, for me, I have always desired to find God. I always wanted to know the deeper meaning of things, always, since I was 5 and could think out loud or inside, awake. So I always was questioning and saying, what is this about? Why am I doing this? Why is this happening to me? And like bad things. And I did bad things and bad shit, bad, 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 bad. Wrong and bad, unpleasant, icky, frightening, frustrating. And boy, was I a victim. I was the victim of so much badness and meanness. And I think over time, when you understand the number 12 stuff, that's what I'm going to talk about on Sunday, is victimology. Right now, we're just talking about Mercury because he's amoral. Well, a lot of the gods are amoral, and I think that's cool. We'll talk about that too. All right. So now I look at Mars at retrograde in my chart, and in my chart, it's going through Virgo, and Virgo in my chart is in the 4th house. And the 4th house is your habits and routines that you have acquired over many ancestral millennia. It's your rooted energy. It's your DNA, really. And it's your mother, because you pass through her body to become real, to become embodied, right? And so all of the chemicals of your mother go through you and make you. So if your mother's a nervous wreck, you're born a nervous wreck. That's another story. Why on earth do we know all this science about chemistry and fetuses and how they respond to the mother's body and the chemicals of it, and then we just tell the women to go out and stay in working jobs and not purify themselves, just be the usual little pot smoking liquor. I mean, we tell them not to drink alcohol, but we allow the mothers to go and rest and to not have to deal with the harsh realities of the world during that time when she's growing a person inside of her. All right, well, that's an issue. I have an issue with that. And, and just tell me, working women, I don't know many working women who are happy about working in their pregnancy. Fucking hard. Pregnancy sucks. It's fucking hard. And then I don't know. I see young women are like, oh, my baby, I just had to go. And, they're in some stupid office was dealing with some dumb paperwork and they have a newborn and some underpaid person is feeding it and putting it in a crib. I mean, no wonder Americans are fucked up. I mean, come on. Come the fuck on. All right. Anyway, I get on a temper tantrum, don't I? I'm sorry. Okay. So anyway, I wanted to explain Mars in Virgo through the houses. And I don't know if I can do 12 because honestly, I don't think I have the patience for it. But I will try. I will go, according to the 1 through 12. So Mars in Virgo, if you have Virgo rising and it's your first house, Mars in Virgo retrograde, and this particular retrograde is going to be very meaningful in your personal identity. And Virgo is the selector. So how are you selecting your identity? And you're going to go back into your past and you're going to say, I feel like I am good at this and bad at that. And I want this part of myself to work and not that part of myself to work. And that's going to be an important thing for you to do this month. And if you have it in your second house, then you will be looking at your values. It's just really simple. Second house is my stuff, and what do I have around me that I like? What do I have with me? What do I bring into my life that gives me what I need? In other words, my money, what supports me? What are my resources? Number 3 is going to be your thoughts. You're going to reframe your thoughts. If you have Virgo in the 3rd house, you're going to be saying, well, that was an idea that maybe I don't need anymore. I wonder why I thought of that in the first place. You'll be questioning your thoughts and who taught me that. That's another good one. It's like when someone gives you an opinion that bugs you or that you don't know, it's like you say to them, who taught you that? Yeah, that's a good one because that sets you back. It sets the other person back. It's like, oh gosh, well, now that you mention it. See? All right. So then the 4th house, me, 4th house, guess what's been going on for me? Well, I have Mars and Saturn also there. So for me, the 4th house is juicy. It's like dynamic because Mars is dynamic. And so there was fighting when I was a kid and it just horrified me. But there was Saturn. So there was the limitations of choice. I couldn't really choose to have my needs met. So I felt isolated, right? So that's my 4th house. So when I get back, when I've got this Mercury retrograde in Virgo, I'm like, oh, I started feeling more empowered because for me, that's a powerful place, And so the retrograde in there is, I'm starting to go, oh, I need to go back to my old diet. And suddenly I'm just going, the food, because I'm all a foodie, right? And neurotic eater, the whole thing, just, it's terrible and wonderful. But point being, this is all like, and I can feel it. Literally, I can feel the difference as I am reframing my ideologies, because that's what Mercury does, lots of ideologies. And I'm reframing my ideologies around my body and really how I make myself comfortable, because the 4th house is ruled by the moon. Well, it's the moon's house. It's not ruled by it in everybody's blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it's the moon's house. So it is the place where you find shelter, right? And so as it goes through the 4th, Mercury goes through the 4th house retrograde, you redefine what gives you shelter, what makes you comfortable. All right. So the 5th house is the house of the father, and that's the father, the yang creative energy is romance. And it's excitement. It's the sun shining. Oh, we're having fun now. It's romantic. And that romantic dude that comes and sweeps you off your feet and you picnic in the park. I always think of the 5th house as the picnic in the park with no ants. It's a fun time, right? And so Mercury retrograding through the 5th house is going to be what really enlivens your life. Where's your joy? right? And as it goes through the sixth house, then you're going to find, oh, what is it that makes me feel purposeful? What duties do I have that I don't need anymore? And which ones could I keep that would really support my purpose in the daily grind? Yeah, because sixth house daily grind. All right, and then the seventh house, we're going to rethink our relationships. So Mercury retrograding in your seventh house is this person for me? Is this contract that I wrote with this business for me? If so, then maybe I need to renegotiate, right? Okay. And then, oh shoot, I'm losing I got to plug in. All right, so let me keep talking while I plug in. The eighth house is going to be for it's a partnership. And so Mercury going through the eighth house retrograde is saying, was that a bad deal? Because you make your deal, your contracts and your deals are made in the seventh house. And the eighth house is where you live through them. So, in other words, fruits of partnership. Did I make a really bad bargain in that deal there? Uh-oh. That's where you realize what you've done. Mea culpa. Then we move to the ninth. And of course, that's simple. Retrograde Mercury in the ninth says, do I believe in that God? Or maybe I should have this other God. I mean, let's look at some gods and figure out which ones are guiding me where I wish to be guided. Gidden. 10th house, career. It's like, what do people think of me? Do I want them to think of me as that person in torn blue jeans or in a business suit? It's really a presentation. Fake it till you make it. That's Capricorn. That's the 10th house. 11th, if it's in the 11th, then we're looking at what's the result of all of my awarenesses through all these different phases. Because it's a step, it's a 12-step program. And so by the time you get to the 11th place, you're seen in the world and you have associations that you've created and now you're living them out. You're living through them. And so it's asking you, am I making the splash? Have I really connected with others in a way that is broader than just my personal relationships? And then we get to the 12. So the 12th house is where we have our physical limitations that force us into our spiritual realizations. That's why it's called a house of sorrow and incarceration and illness. And it's terrible. It's a terrible place. It's my place. Because the boss of me, Mercury, lives there. In my chart, my boss is Mercury, and he lives in the house of limitations and sickness and despair. So believe me, I had my share. But what I've learned in time is that if you learn to dream properly, you will have a much better experience, because I think that's exactly what those prisoners who are stuck in a horrible cell can do, and some manage it and others can't. But what happens when you are put away, you are forced to go into a place of spirit. It's not fun, and it's a challenge. But the idea of this is, of course, the Hanged Man card in the tarot, and this is where the God goes into the physical. The God is the mental, and when he enters his wife, the physical, he's trapped inside of her. And in this place, she contains all that is. And he must take his bright idea, because that's what the God does. He's the idea maker. And he must resolve within his wife's body that he has to swim around in the dark, accepting everything that's in there. And when you come to terms with that kind of restriction and surrender to it, you find yourself in a place that I call understanding. Because for me, I have all my life been compelled to understand. So that means you go to some dark places because you want to find out more. You want to find out more so you can understand, so you can grok. It is the house of grokking. And if you don't know what that is, it's from a book by Robert Heinlein from my youth called Stranger in a Strange Land. If you ever want to read a cool book, read Stranger in a Strange Land, because then you will understand the 12th house. So as Mercury goes through the 12th house retrograde, you will be finding yourself deep, deep in dream. And if you allow yourself and you do a dream journal and you just close the lights out and you just zone out, you will find so much rich beauty there. So you can tell I'm a big fan, but it's my domain. So I can really get into it. All right. So the 12 houses, Mercury retrograde, rethink your thoughts about the topic of where the Mercury lands. Okay. It's all a thinking, but it is definitely has a theme. And the theme is represented in the 1 through 12 places on your chart. Okay, so that's it for today because I don't want to do any more now. I want to go to the beach. And so I would remind you, I'll be doing this again live on Sunday, and that is going to be August 11th at noon Pacific Daylight Time. I'm on the coast. And I encourage you to like this and subscribe. And in time, it will become so slick and professional. And in the meantime, it's just down home me. And I really appreciate your time. I hope you appreciate my time because I think we need to talk about these topics in love and understanding. That's what I think. And I think about it a lot. Okay, I'm ending the stream. Thank you for watching. Be well, be happy.